Welcome to the video, folks. Anthony Special here with Hawkeye Traders. Going to be walking you through a setup this morning that I took. I want to talk about kind of the price action analysis. I want to talk about how volume played a role and explain to you why I took this specific trade and my thought process, my risk reward, and how it fell into my trade plan. So we're going to dive right into the video. I'll be honest, I didn't spend a ton of time today in front of the market, but when you know exactly what you're looking for and it presents itself, you just simply place the trade. It's part of your trade plan. You have to follow through with it. It's a business of probabilities, understanding that if you can put together a relationship between volume and price action, you're looking at the screen that I actually trade on, and I'm going to show you right what it came down to. Very simple, and it really just was based on the decision that volume and price action put together. Okay, so let's take a look and dive right in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. First, I want to zoom out, actually. I want you guys to notice here during the overnight, we placed this awkward bottom starting at, what is that, 8:10 all the way through 9:20, 9:15. So for a period of over an hour, we created this bottom that we just couldn't get through, right? Price kept banging against it. Just we weren't going anywhere. So to me, that was fairly meaningful price action, okay? I want volume, price action to have that relationship with one another, but I also want to be able to have the context of what the market is telling me. So this to me was very meaningful. You could see when price returned to this level, we had consolidation, a sell-off, a retracement, consolidation, a sell-off, a lower high, placed a little bit here of a range of lows for a very short period of time before breaking down and then creating this kind of bottoming pattern here. So I want you to kind of see and understand my thought process. So I'm going to just drop a line here so you guys kind of have an idea of where this and how this plays as well. So I always look prior highs, prior lows. Is there any specific areas where there was an interaction that could give me a reason to believe that it is significant to break or to retest? So we placed this low here. Now, guys, I'm coming to the computer early. I'm leaving the house in the office early this morning. I didn't even have any intention of placing a trade, except all my criteria was met. So I placed this very short-term trade, and I'm going to explain that to you kind of as we walk through this. Price does pull back up here, and you can see we do kind of just consolidate along these lows. Now, I didn't feel like these lows were very, I don't know, they were just short-term, whereas before, you know, we really reacted to this area for a lengthy period of time. So that was more meaningful to me. As price action came up here, you know, we did take some pretty aggressive buying here, and we did just kind of consolidate here for a second. We really didn't consolidate long enough, right? And then very quickly we regained this level and went on higher. Okay, so I want to kind of interpret and understand what's happening with price action after I see a sequence here of volume and reaction. Strong buying volume. We take one pullback candle, and then we pull back again above this level, and then we just carry on higher. So to me, there wasn't enough time there to really say, okay, or is this an area where we're really going to genuinely fall back from? And if we do, what's my target, right? I mean, I would probably be looking at this high right here. So I'm really not giving myself too much room, but you know, there's a little bump lower there, roughly 15 ticks. But normally, this blue line here is something called the VWAP, the session VWAP. Normally, if we are coming close to it, we're going to test it. So I wanted to give the market a chance to test the VWAP, and that's what it did. And ultimately, it pushed through it very aggressively. And then we fell into these significant lows here that I was speaking about, that I identified early this morning. And notice how much time we spent here, right? We just kept kind of banging against it. Where here, it was one pullback, a regain of the level, and then continuation. Where here, we never actually closed above the level. Where here, we closed above it twice. And we went 1, 2, 3. 3 candles here, just kind of sideways, right? Just walking along it. Now, stronger buying volume, ultra high radar dot, and we couldn't get through the wick of this candle. I'm actually marked the wick off there. You can see we just kept banging into that wick. We were unsuccessful in pushing through the wick. So I felt fairly confident based on the prior price action, based on what price was doing in the moment, the fact that we had this ultra high buying and no ability here to even penetrate through this prior level I had marked off. So I placed a short, okay? And I was just targeting the VWAP, and that's where I was going to cover the majority of my position. I was hoping we would fall back into this level and I would cover more and maybe even push down to retest the lows. So I did leave a small portion of my trade on just to see if it was going to go well. Well, it didn't. Okay. The fact of the matter was, it stopped at the VWAP and it did pull back up, taking out my stop, because I have a rule. As soon as I start taking profit, my stop goes to my entry or into the profit slightly. So I was taking a very, very, very tiny risk here. Okay. I got short there at 75. You could see the high there was 78. My stop was here at 80. So I was risking 5 ticks. Okay. My target was here at the VWAP. 15 ticks. So it was a 3-to-1 risk reward, right? It was a small trade, but the risk reward factor did meet my criteria. So with that being said, it checked all my boxes, had high volume, no follow through, hesitation at a key level in the market, which here before, you can see we broke above it, closed back below it, broke back above it. That to me isn't really marking the level as strong. I'm only risking 5 ticks, so if I'm wrong, I'm going to lose 5 ticks. If I'm right, I'm going to start taking profit at 15, so 3-to-1. That to me is a pretty firm rule for me. All right, I'm not about to take 1-to-1s or less than 1-to-1s, because at that rate, you're just gambling, and more often than not, you're going to end up suffering from that. So it was a very short trade. Okay, it only lasted a very short period of time. You can see we fell into the VWAP very quickly. We did retrace back up, push through it, and then we ultimately did push through this prior level here, but I had already been stopped out. And to be honest with you guys, I was finishing my coffee. I was literally getting ready to walk out the door. So I wasn't going to play with it anymore. Like, I wasn't going to sit here, and I didn't have intentions of trading today, okay? But when your trade plan is met and you are present and in the zone or in the mindset to take that trade, then you take the trade. Okay? If it didn't work out, I had a very small risk. If it worked out, not that my reward was huge, but the risk-reward ratio made sense. It has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to risk 15 ticks to try to get 5. Right? That's financial suicide. I'm not going to risk 15 ticks to try to get 10. That's financial suicide. Okay? So we have to have a very risk-forward mindset of the way we approach the market. Does the volume and the price action give me the inkling to believe the market's going to do something? I suspect it will. And it did. Ultra high buying volume. Wick on top, which turned out to play resistance. As you can see, we tested it 2 more times, possibly about 3 more times actually. And then we pulled back right into the VWAP beautifully. I took my 3-to-1. I moved my stop. Just bumped it into the profit to cover the bid ask in case I got stopped out. I did get stopped out, covered the bid ask, and that's it. I'm done. Right? Sometimes that's all the trading that you should do, right? You should just be so laser focused that if all your criteria is not met, you're not going to place a trade at all, and that's okay, right? Quality over quantity in the long run will yield a much better return on your account. So keep that in mind, okay? Make sure that you are focused on the interaction between volume and price action. Make sure you're identifying price action levels that make sense. Make sure you're seeing that when you have ultra high volume and there's 0 follow through, in fact, that wick creates resistance, that can give you the inkling to believe that you're at a key level, you have ultra high buying volume, you have no follow through, in fact, the wick becomes resistant. There's a chance we're going to pull back. Where's the nearest target? For me, the nearest target here today was the VWAP. So hope you found this informational. If you learned something, feel free to leave a comment below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to learn more about accessing our Hawkeye Mastery classes and the Hawkeye indicators, there's also links below here, which I would love for you to click on, consume, reach out to myself or my Hawkeye Concierge team with any questions you may have. Be more than happy to answer them for you. And guys, as always, this is not a hindsight 2020, thought process. I analyzed this in real time. I was able to make a decision in real time, and I was able to place a trade in real time with small risk, with sizable related to the risk return, and I was done for the day, right? One trade, finishing my cup of coffee, left the office. I was gone for the rest of the day. I've just returned home to shoot this recap video for you. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, feel free to leave a comment below. My email will be there. My concierge team contact information will be there. And we would love to help you in any way that we're able to. So I appreciate each of you. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.